What is the greatest lie that a liar could tell? It is to lie about God, the originator of the heavens and the earth. And the next greatest lie is to lie about the self of the human being and its connection to the originator. These are the greatest lies, and he who tells them is the greatest liar. The Holy Quran speaks about those who lie concerning God. In the 11th chapter, the 18th verse of the Maulana Muhammad Ali translation, it reads, "And who is more unjust than he who forges a lie against Allah? These will be brought before their Lord, and the witnesses will say, these are they who lied against their Lord. Now surely the curse of Allah is on those." If Satan can hide the knowledge and truth of God, who is the source of truth, the source of light, the source of life, the source of power, then the brain is put into darkness if the energy or spirit that comes from the presence of God, the truth, is not present. And the power that comes with truth is not present. And the God who is the source of it all is also absent in our lives. And he is absent in a world that is built on a lie.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Realities Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I'm the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on the internet as the mighty Angel Snapping Up 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I would like to bring before us a very short response to the words of this brother known as Louis Farrakhan. And the reason why I must bring response is because he describes a person or people who think a certain way, and they would fall into the category of an atheist. Now, I do not call myself an atheist because an atheist, that description, that term, it comes from out of religious teaching. It was created by the believers in God to describe those who reject their belief system. To believe in God or to disbelieve in God is what an atheist is supposed to be. However, I do not acknowledge God, so there is no need to disbelieve. To believe in God, to disbelieve in God, is an unnatural thinking process. Because if it was not for a man, men and women who invented or created the belief, if there is a need for belief, then clearly it's a possibility. Then chances are it might not exist. So you set yourself up for questioning. And if you have facts, there's no need for belief. And when you are taught to believe in something, regardless if it is contrary to what makes sense, you believe it anyway in hopes that perhaps one day it could make sense. I want to say this. Louis Farrakhan says that the greatest thing a deceiver can do is lie about God, the origin, and deny God's connection to the creation. The liar is the one that cannot prove that God exists and gets angry because those who cannot see God, cannot relate to God, that is the greatest harm. We see this upon this planet because these who believe in God, their religions, although Christians teach peace, Muslims teach peace, Jews teach peace, but these are the most popular religious teaching. All of them was born out of violence. All of them ain't popular because they was forced on people. It's not natural for you and me to believe in any God. Religion has always been used to enslave the mind. It is easier to make someone docile, to control someone by brainwashing than it is with military force and the threat of violence. So if I give people a certain teaching, I know how they think, because religion is designed to tell you what to think, but not how to think. So I'm sorry. The greatest deceiver, the greatest liar are those who believe in God that tell us this deception. It is you, not those who can think for themselves. Those who depend on facts, those who use common sense. Because if you have facts, if you use common sense, rationale, logic, and analyze for yourself, there's no need to believe because you can find out for yourself. There's no need to believe and hope in nothing. But if I am a liar, if I'm directing people towards the wrong way, I'm perfectly happy in accepting my punishment from this God, of which I doubt, because for the last 2,000 years, there's no proof, no clear, convincing, and overwhelming evidence that God exists. And even if God did exist, I will bow down and I will not submit my will to do the will of God, because God's life is no greater and better than my life. Why should I submit to somebody and be their slave? Believers in God, your life is no better than anybody else. There's no any special treatment because you believe in God. You die in car accidents, you get cancer, you get diabetes, you get hit by cars, you die on trains. There's nothing special about you and your God. And the reason why there's nothing special about you and your God is because your God don't exist. And you can't prove it no matter what you say. You can't prove it. And you want to try to force your beliefs on those who are in their right state of mind to make us sick like you have become. I want to accept punishment from this God for my rebellion or rejection of belief, because I'm looking for facts. And if this is a just God, then this just God would understand that you have to bring me facts. You have to come and talk to me in person. I don't care anything about your prophets. I don't about your divine one. Come and talk to me. You so high and mighty, you can't talk to me with your arrogant self. Well, then get on about your business. I'm doing fun without you. And I can do whatever your believers in God can do. I don't need your help. Because a belief in God shows that you are a crippled mind. You handicapped. I don't need crutches. I'm perfectly able to walk on my own. But if you need a crutch, if you handicapped, then feel free to grab the crutch of religious belief, spiritual belief systems, so you can walk. But then understand that a handicapped person cannot operate and cannot do the things that a person that is not handicapped can do. And that's why you are sitting in the world is sitting in the condition that is in because you crippled and you handicapped. And there's nobody with good health that's willing to help you out of your shit, help heal you if that's possible. And that is the only way suffering mental impairment, that's the only way a Jesus or Muhammad can help the masses of human beings. How can you expect me to believe in God when those in the Bible and Quran, they witnessed the miracles? They was around, some of them actually saw the miracles, and they rejected and ignored God. But you and me, and many of us who have never seen God in action, you expect to believe virgin births. Spaceships come out the sky and all this stuff y'all come up with, and little green men in your backyard floating around out of your body, all this stuff y'all come up with. Then God is not just, God has his favorites. I have been told that Jews, Israelites, are the chosen people of God. Why would God create people and then you have favorites? I thought that God loves all, but God has practicism. And then God hates sin, but God focuses on homosexuals. Why does God hate homosexuality above all the other sins? Ain't sin is sin? God would destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah because of homosexuals and sodomy, but yet still, you will not destroy the city and show equal bias. Well, there's no such thing as bias. You can't be equal. But how come you can't do it with a city full of thieves, a city full of fornicators and adulterers? Why is there a focus on homosexuality when sin is sin? The concept of slavery comes from out of religious teaching, where God is the slave master, and you, the believer, you the slave. A slave's life only benefits his or her master. You live, your life only means to serve God. So why are you living? Just so that you can serve some God. So why do you live? Why should we live? Period. Just to come into life to be a servant to somebody else. Forget them. And these religious teachings, they cause hate. Hate your mother, hate your father. Cause wars all over this planet. You preach peace and love, but you are born violence and you cause violence. You cause hate. You cause unnecessary suffering. And you claim to have all these facts. But if you have all these facts, there's no need to believe. Because you are a slave. I don't care how pretty you paint the picture, you're nothing but a sophisticated slave. So, I just want to respond to this speech. Because there is no doubt that I would fall into the category of whom Louis Farrakhan is speaking of. But I want to be able to think for myself. I don't need need no Bible, no Quran or religious book that tell me how to think. There's wisdom in these books, but the books don't control me. I control the book, because my brain is now, this is some stuff that was written down thousands of years ago. Accept your own who you are. Be yourself and think for yourself. Take what is good in life, accept it and use it for your benefit, and throw away that which is bad. Jot down your comments. Thank you for listening. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the host or the gatekeeper of this particular program, known here on the internet, or some of y'all still call the world wide. Well. On this medium, I am known as the mighty. Angel Snub 7. I am your brother, Aleeyah friend, Taalik, Ibn'rad. I would like to present a suggestion or an idea to those who are the descendants of slaves born in America, especially the black man, because we are told as men that we are supposed to be the defenders, the providers, the protectors, the builders of our community, of our women and our children. Unfortunately, we are also the builders of not our own nation, but the nation, the country that belongs to our oppressors. Otherwise, we would be building our own nation. Now, there is nothing wrong being part of a country or a nation as long as you are treated and as an equal citizen. This is the case for the black men and women in America as long as we've been here. As long as we have been here, the descendants of slaves, in fact, the black man and woman, ourselves, we began unequal, then we became slaves, still unequal, then we are given a false sense of citizenship, still unequal, continue to be treated unequal, but yet we have died in war since the Revolutionary War. We've always paid our taxes equally. We go to jail unequally. Everything of benefit is unequal. Anything of a detriment or harassment, we get more than that on our tray. So with this inequality, this mistreatment, this injustice, common sense tells us a long time ago that it would have been best that we separate from these people who control the nation. We have no say-so in foreign policy, domestic policy. We have no say-so in nothing that goes on in this nation. Benefit for us to continue to support a country, a nation, systems that was designed to hinder the progress, harass, and terrorize black men and women. But our forefathers, for whatever reason, whether that be cowardice, laziness, a delusional thought that one day things would change, whatever the reason, we continue to suffer, and for the benefit of future generations, this generation should nip it in the bud. The buck stops here. Or either you just admit that you love being somebody's slave, because that's all that our life is. Our life doesn't benefit our children. Our life does not benefit ourselves. It benefits other people that leech of our blood. The Koreans, the Arabs, the Chinese, anybody can come to us and sink their teeth into our blood vessel. Get on the breast of our women and become strong and powerful and wealthy. Leeches. But yet and still there's something wrong with the black man and woman in America where we cannot advantage and benefit of ourselves. Something is wrong, something has happened to us. This is why the world's greatest slave, the world's richest slave, the most educated slave, but a slave nonetheless, because all you do does not benefit who you are or the people that you come from. You might be a citizen of the United States of America, but everybody else, their communities, their neighborhoods, their works benefit where they live, except black people. Something is wrong. And then these of whom we live with, they know they can come to us. They can come into our communities and shoot down our children. They know that there is no consequence. And we know ourselves that you can kill another black man, woman, or child, and there is no consequence. This generation, we should become like the fictional character, the deputy of Mayberry, Barney Fife. And we should nip it in the bud. The buck stops here. How long? As a man, or how can you call yourself a man and continue to allow predators to come in the house and eat your babies, prey on you at will? That's why there's a need. And the topic of our talk right now, there's a need for the black community to form an army now. It was done yesterday, but they didn't keep it. It did not progress because there was not unification. There was division, and that division continues right now. The self-hatred continues right now. The envy, the grandiosity, all these things continue right now. So the woman is not protected. Anybody come into the black community and get a black woman, rape a black child, kill a black woman, kill a black man, kill a black child, there is no consequence because we are not protected. We call the police department and we depend upon a government that has been proven racist and hate-filled and biased towards us. Although our tax money pays for them, they could care less about black people in this nation. But why should they? If you don't care about yourself, why should anybody else care? Any type of caring, any type of love begins with self-love, because if you don't love yourself, how can you expect somebody else to love you? If you don't respect yourself, honor yourself, how can we expect others to respect or honor us? The topic that I've chosen for these few minutes, again, the black community needs to form an army now for the protection of us as a people, to bring honor and respect. And it makes no difference whether you win or lose the battle. The predator knows that he's going to get a fight. And predators always choose the easiest prey. And for 400 years, the black man and woman in America, we've been shown to be easy prey. That should stop. Get some teeth in your mouth, some sheath. Sharpen up your claws. Straighten up your back. And go to war. That's what the time requires of the man and the woman, particularly the black man. Because you say, out of your mouth, I'm the head of household. You the head of household, but you can't protect nobody. Gang members come in your neighborhood and shoot up your houses, kill your children. We have black men and women who have gone savage, and they are allowed to prowl our neighborhoods at night, and you lock yourself in your house with 4 and 5 locks on the door and all kinds of alarms because you're surrounded by savage beasts. But if the beast knew that the neighborhood and the house and the residence was protected by an army, whether that army is armed or unarmed, I would suggest just both ways. Because you need to get these savages off your back once and for all. The black savages as well as the pink ones. The pink ones are a bit tougher, but you're going to you deal with as they come. You start off with the black savages, and you work your way up, and you show this black savage, the Chinese savage, whoever want to try to bring you harm, you show them it ain't that easy. You can think like a warrior and a soldier and put down this pornography. Get out of the women's panties. Stand up and think like a man. If the black man was really a soldier and warrior, you've been free a long time ago. You ain't serious. It's enough so-called black conscious, black pride, power people in this nation. You should have been free yesterday. But the black man, with all your talk, you're not real. My brother J.T. Really One says, there's only two kind of people in this world, real and fake. Y'all fake. That's why the majority of you are coming my way. Because you know that I know that you fake. I don't care how you talk. Because actions speak louder than words. And the little few people, real, we are so scattered around that it's difficult for us to get together so we can make the proper change. And kick y'all sissies out from among us and expose y'all sissies for what you really are. You're not real. So sit in front of your Xbox and plan your next visit to Disneyland and your next visit to porn site so you can see Caucasian women licking and laughing on one another. This is the reality of your black conscious movement. Because it really was moving, you've been free a long time ago. I want to say this also very quickly. That I am not a brave person. I am the most sissy of the sissiest. I'm the most scared of the scared. So I understand y'all being afraid. But how much can you take? When I was locked up for 10 years in a mental facility, that was scary. I was scared when I was a little boy. I was bullied from the 3rd grade all the way to my junior year. I was afraid and I was scared. There are people who probably are around right now that can tell you, I know that guy. I beat him up when we was little. But they will also tell you, you take me to a point where I can't stand and I'll fight you back. And we've been here for 4 years and the black man and woman, we refuse to fight back. It is nice if you can to deal with people verbally and you try to be non-violent. But there are those whose purpose is to cause you harm. They mean you no good. They're going to beat you up or kill you. You have the right to self-defense. So don't tell me about non-violence. You have the right to self-defense. Why should we be the only ones? Let's send some of these suckers to the funeral homes, regardless of skin color. They are killing you anyway. They are hurting you anyway. You have nothing to lose. That's why I decided to fight back. No matter how nice I tried to be. No matter how far I run. They always caught me. I always got beat up. No matter what a rabbit do, the intent of the wolf is to eat the rabbit. Y'all got to understand that. And stop being so scary. You got to fight back. Stop being cowards. You talk all this non-violent stuff because you're afraid to fight and die for what you believe in. So clearly, you don't believe in nothing. And you don't love nothing. You don't love your mother. You don't love your father. You don't love your sisters, brothers, your children, your neighborhoods, and your community. Because if you love them, you stand up and fight and be willing to die for them. That's what makes you a warrior and make you a soldier. We don't have them among black men, a bunch of cowards and sissies, and talk. And as sissified and scary as I am, I'll just do it. I'm afraid, but I'll throw the punch. I'm scary, and I'll kick you. If necessary, I'll pull the rod on you, if necessary. Because you've taken me, I've tried everything I can. I have the right to self-defense. And anybody that tell you you don't have the right to self-defense, they are your enemy. They want to keep you easy prey. In my talk that I'm going to share with you from Facebook with a letter that I've written, some people have a problem. They say I promote suicide. Well, anytime a soldier goes into battle, that's suicide. What is suicide? Suicide is the purposeful intent to take your life. If I took a gun or a knife, stabbed myself or shot myself in the head, that's suicide. But you can also have suicide when you purposely, your intent, you put yourself in harm's way. Every soldier, every warrior, that's suicide. Because you are purposely placing yourself in a position that you know your life can be taken. And when they put you on a suicide mission, the only thing that's different is that you know that your chances of being killed increase. War is suicide for the soldier. War is suicide for the warrior. But they are willing to sacrifice their life to defend their women, children, neighborhood, country. You don't have no country. And you have no problem doing it for the races. You fought in the Revolutionary War, Korean War, Vietnam War, all these conflicts, Iraq, Afghanistan, but the black man won't fight for himself. There's something wrong with you. You are insane. In hopes begging for 400 years, still begging and pleading for some sucker to accept you as an equal. To hell with them. To hell with them. Love yourself. That's why you do it, because you don't love yourself. The black community needs an army now. Did you know, straight out of slavery, that black people were able to build over 60 towns and held many high positions in a racist government? Former slaves was progressing far better than the middle class and the poor pink people who never were slaves. It sparked jealousy among the middle class and poor pink people. They were supported by a racist society. These were not destroyed outright or had land stolen from black people. After enduring this evil, that is ignored, and our progress in this nation is never mentioned. They now call the progeny or the descendants of slaves born in America, they now call us lazy and non-creative. This happened because our people had no means to defend what they do. In fact, blacks were not even allowed to have guns. But thanks to the suffering and the sacrifice and the deaths of our ancestors under the law of the oppressor, you can now arm yourself, both with education, knowledge, but as well as weapons. So the time is coming, there is a need to form a military, of which you have the right to do under the Constitution. The citizens have the right to form a militia. But our military is dedicated to the protection of black people, since the federal government, state government, local government, since they continue to fail to protect and defend us, then we should be allowed, we have the right to defend ourselves. We have a right to protect what we build, protect our women and children, neighborhood, and the community in general. Some of the recruits for our militia, for our military, they already exist in the forms of gangs that currently would be considered enemies of the state. And we would take them, after kicking them in the backside, they would be considered enemy combatants to this corps, to this militia. We have no choice for those who will continue to bring harm to the black community, regardless of their skin color. These elements would have to be eliminated from the black community. I call this new militia, this new military wing, and some of you don't like certain description. It makes no difference as long as the job gets done. I call it the Black Caucasian Corps, because that means those who are part of it are willing to sacrifice their life for protection of our women, children, and our society, our culture, those things that we build and represent. This kamikaze corps will represent both legal and, if necessary, illegal actions if necessary. But the only way it can efficiently work is that all the organizations must participate as one unit for the benefit and have the protection of this militia. Organized black leadership must approach this government and request the government of the United States for lands to the descendants of slaves born in America, or treat us, not 20 years from now, not 2 years from now. We want the immediate treatment as an equal. We should have laws. We should have lands, just like the Native American people, separate from the general population and given that privilege. Matter of fact, many black people carry the blood of Native Americans. We are relatives to some of these Native American people, but we don't get the benefits of what the Native American people get in this nation. We are just labeled black and deny benefits of a people who were given lands called reservations. Where are our reservations? We deserve reservations. We deserve reparations, just like the Native American people. In fact, many of us have Native American blood, so we should also get that benefit. The descendants of slaves born in America have never given any benefit or privilege for our suffering. The Native American people, many of them have been given land. Although it's the worst land, they've been given lands. And the Japanese, for their being in the concentration camps in World War II, I don't know if they've been paid or not, given any type of compensation, monetary compensation, but they've been given certain reparations. Prior to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, the slaves was promised 40 acres and a mule, and we were given nothing after Lincoln was assassinated, because the racists saw that we was progressing without 40 acres and a mule, so they knew if they gave us 40 acres and a mule within in a few short years, we would take this land over. Do you understand why these people hate you? Because they know that we take over everything we get our hands on. You don't understand that. They would rather give you their penis, their vagina, than land and money and the privilege, not the privilege, but the option, the opportunity to become independent from them. The black kamikaze corps under the Constitution of this nation would be formed under the premise that the citizens have the right to form a militia, and all weapons purchased will be legal for the being. Citizens under the law also have the right to arrest and detain a suspected criminal. In many states, they can all take advantage of stand your ground laws. This corps, besides an armed security force, must also consist of legal counsel. Not only will we would do in the beginning of this forming of this army, we would do everything legal under the laws of this nation. But when we dealt something unjust, then just like Dr. King, just like Elijah Muhammad, like anybody fighter, we could care less about the laws of oppressor. This military will maintain spokespeople or ministers that will defend black people against vicious propaganda, any type of forum where there are racists or anybody else talking bad about black people. Our defense, this military represents not only armed but unarmed conflict, verbal and non-verbal. However you want to bring it. No look are black people going to sit around and let suckers run over, whether that be physically or mentally. You can't deal with us, period. We already know you can't do nothing with us verbally. You speak too weak. And you're a liar and a deceiver, and we're hip to your lies and your deceit. And unless it is necessary, we will avoid debate with black people because we know they're ignorant. But if they force our hand, then we got to kick them up and also. And traitors must be dealt with. These Negroes, these people we call dark Europeans and coons and Sambo, that type of behavior will not be tolerated among us. You will leave our community. Since you don't want to be with us, slave master, whether you can afford it or not, you can become homeless, but you're not going to live among us with your traitorous self, your Benedict Arnold guard dog self. Go on with your master. And your master don't want you, we don't want you. What your cool self gonna do? Negroes always seeking the approval of races. If necessary, the black kamikaze corps must also act in what as a revolutionary action, while the person would call it criminal or even a treasonous act. The corps must request volunteers dedicated to suicide missions who will never be known. Now let me tell y'all something. We don't come out and tell the enemy everything we're going to do. However, we must give you enough so you can understand where we're coming from. And there is balance. Now, if we're calling for suicide missions, if we're calling for drastic action, then drastic action must also be taken against us because we're doing legally under the laws of the United States of America. We have the right to defend ourselves. And if the federal government, state government, local police don't defend us, we have the right to defend ourselves. And some of these actions might be considered illegal, so what? So we have to have persons dedicated and willing to sacrifice for the best interest and the good of what we are going to do. These, you will never know who they are. Their names will be kept in secret, and their steps will be covered so action could not be suspected to never ever directly associate what is supposed to be illegal actions to the Black Kamikaze Corps. And if captured, just like any spy, any agent, if you are captured, then you will take your life. You will not be taken alive. And if you don't have a chance to take your life, tell the enemy your rank name, your rank and serial number. Appropriate actions will be taken because we don't never leave a soldier behind. But again, we can't tell you everything that we plan on doing. But we do plan on protecting ourselves. And as far as the press is concerned, the captured agent, the captured soldier would be acting as a lone wolf. And they would be, because they would be getting their instructions early, and they would be separate from the Black Kamikaze Corps. There should be many lessons, descendants of slaves born in America, many lessons we should have learned from dealing with this vicious and smart enemy. Black men have been murdered. Black men have murdered countless people for this racist people. It is time that these men stand up and fight. You have committed suicide and you've been willing to die for racists. You should be willing to die and sacrifice and suffer for yourself. What snake is more of a victim? The snake that has poison or the one that lacks venom? Black men, black people, we must get venom. We must stop being cowards and afraid to die. We are already dying. Been doing that for over 400 years. First by the hands of a vicious enemy, now by our own hands. And we must stop it. And the only way we can stop it, we gotta get some, what they call, we got to be a snake with some venom in our mouth. The Corps understands the enemy, and that enemy can have a black face. So we must always be on watch for the enemy within. But see, this is a different day and time, and we have a whole lot of technology that is at our disposal. So the spies and the traitor, you will be detected. Come on, be a spy, be a traitor. But if you get caught, you will be sacrificing your life, because the next time Hamas find you, they'll find you in the river, find you in a lake, a landfill, in a garbage dumpster. And what will be frustrating, they'll never know who done it. You ain't the only one smart racist. You ain't the only one can be slick racist. Time for you to leave us the hell alone. The same fear used to destroy the black community must now be used to tame a people that have turned savage. You don't have to continue to beg black folks to do this and that. If they're afraid of the slave master, and the slave master is giving you respect, then you can do with them as you please, because if they're not going to fight the racists, they're not going to do nothing to you. But the difference between you and the racists is that you want to give and bring fear into the community for their best interest, for their best benefit. And after you tame them and they are no longer savage and begin to come into the right state of mind, instead of fearing you, they'll love you. Just like when you give a child a whipping, the child don't understand most times the punishment. I hate you, daddy. I hate you, mama, for giving them a whipping. But as they mature, as they grow up, then the child understands that they did it in love. They did it because they care. And now you have a beautiful adult person instead of a thug, a hood rat, a ratchet, and all this other stuff that y'all come up with. This core will be successful because it will be formed by a united, organized leadership. And the people themselves will support it. And the people, they will support it because they will love the results. Because after 400 years, they'll finally be able to lay down and have a good night's sleep. And the babies can go to school and don't have to worry about being shot. You will sleep better because black life will have value, not because somebody give us value, because we place value on ourselves. So, the next George Zimmerman, they have a high price to pay the next time the thought even comes of killing one of our young teenage boys. The black man is alive and in full effect. But when you're dead, when you're cowardly, when you're sissified and weak, that's not going to get you any respect. We've had education. We had voting. We had interracial marriage. We got all these things. None of it has worked. But you never tried self-defense. You never tried loving yourself. You never tried honoring yourself, respecting yourself. You never had national unification. And whether they like it or not, make the people unify by any means necessary. They will appreciate it in the end. And with that said, brothers, I hope that we can all join and make this a reality because it is in the best interest of ourselves and our future generations. And we will show these devils that we will no longer tolerate and we are no longer easy. It's time to fight. Those who don't want to fight, they're held back. And if you don't want to be known, at least send some support if you really care. Because this is the best way to go. Stop listening to your enemies. They don't care nothing about us. They want you to continue to put your arm out so they can suck your blood easy. But this black man, those who hear these words and act upon these words, they are alive and in full effect. Thank you for listening. Jot down your comments. Let's talk about it. This is your brother Taalik, Ibn'rad. And it is the Reality's Temple on earth. My black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody